This week's episode of Aussie Tech Heads is brought to you by Start New Company. Register your company immediately today with ASIC. ABN, TFN, GST registration is also available directly from the portal. Also set up your family trust and self-managed superannuation fund and more. All at startnewcompany.com.au. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/startnewco and keep an eye out for our regular specials. Start your new company now within 10 minutes of lodgement. All legal company documentation provided after registration. startnewcompany.com.au. And also brought to you by athwebhosting.com.au. All our servers are operating on SSD drives, immediate activation, SSL certificates, Aussie support, domain registration, and more. Easy install WordPress, Joomla, Drupal, and 300 other one-click installations. Generous space and bandwidth, auto backups, WordPress help and maintenance plans are also available on Contact. If your webpage is important for your business or your life, contact us today. Aussie support, secure services, athwebhosting.com.au. And now for the show.
Welcome to episode 713 of the Aussie Tech Heads, recorded on the 18th of February 2021. I'm your host, Jason Oakley, and this is my co-host, Will Tompkinson. Huh?
Hey, mate. How you doing?
How you doing?
You might need to get that looked at.
COVID.
Don't say that. We'll be booted off Facebook.
Well, Australia's already booted off Facebook. What are you talking about? That's what the whole damn show's going to be about. I think I'm...
Yeah, dear. So, it's all been happening, eh?
Yeah. Well, I've been busy wasting all my money. I bought an ant miner to mine Bitcoin.
Then we discovered that wasn't a great way of doing it.
Never a great way, no. And then I got a 3070 NVIDIA graphics card to do some mining, and then found out that my 650 watt power supply can't handle a 3070 and a 1070 Ti at the same time, can it?
Nope.
So then I had to buy a 1000 watt power supply. But I learned something interesting. I thought, I'll take the old power, unplug everything, take the old power supply out, plug everything back in, turn it on, nothing. What? It's exactly same connectors, same cables, same, try it on and off, different things. Nope. All right. Well, let's try just the motherboard cable. Nope, doesn't start. All right, let's get the motherboard cable from the new power supply, plug it in, turn it on. Oh, it comes on now. All right, turn it off, plug in everything, turn it on. Nope, doesn't work still. Then worked out that the cable from the CPU connector from the motherboard that goes to the power supply needs to be the new one as well that came with the new power supply, and suddenly everything works. So cables are not cables, it seems. It's not exactly the same cables because the new power supply won't work with the old cables. The graphics card cables were fine, SATA and everything else. But the ones that going from the power supply to both sides of the motherboard, you have to use the new ones or it just doesn't work. So there must be some signaling in there to say, hey, this is the new one.
Different
Only
pin.
work with this.
That's, yeah, I mean, maybe that makes sense. If they're thicker cables, you want better, but yeah, I don't know.
They seem to be exactly the same, but just
okay.
wouldn't turn on or no power at all. And I was like, oh no, don't tell me I've got to send it back. But it was really good. I got it from PLE Computers in Melbourne, and they overnighted the power supply. So it was like $23 from Standard Mail or $28 for overnight. So it was like $5, and I ordered it yesterday afternoon, this morning. Ding dong.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was stupid fast.
Yeah.
I can't get stuff across Brisbane that quick.
I remember I was talking about how I ordered something from Melbourne and then a week later ordered something from the UK, which came 3 weeks later. And then a week after that, the one from Melbourne came.
Yeah.
It was 5 weeks.
Well, I sent a battery to a customer the other day. I sent it nearly 3 weeks ago, and he's only the other side of Toowoomba, so he's not that far away.
You could have driven it.
Yeah, and it got there like 2 days ago. Like it was nearly 3 weeks to go. What,
Wow,
80
that's
k's?
nuts. Yeah.
Like,
And my main reason for this is getting back into the Bitcoin mining. So I had the 1070 Ti, which was doing okay, about 30 mega hashes a second, and now I've thrown in the 3070 to go with it, which also does about 60 mega hashes per second. So it's doing quite well. And then the Bitcoin Antminer S9J is in the garage because that sounds like a jet taking off, and you don't want that in the house. So I ended up using the Ethernet over power plug, which I already had, to get the internet into the garage instead of getting more stuff wired in because it doesn't need that much. And yeah, it goes all right. What do I say? It was like 1400 watts of power all day, whereas 2 graphics cards is like 300. And mine's 3 times as much, but you can't mine anything but really Bitcoin or any other SHA-256, which at least your graphics card can do a variety of different things.
That's what happened. Like as the difficulty increases, the ant miners get less effective.
Yeah.
So and
why is it increasing? Because people are using ant miners.
Well, it's becoming a legitimate currency. Elon Musk has a big push behind that, but. A lot of people are starting to use it now. Like, actually, we got
now $66,672 for one Bitcoin.
I'm actually looking at an FPOS machine that takes all the different cryptocurrencies.
Yep. One of these days.
Yeah, because we're looking at using it legitimately at work. It's starting to. I've actually been asked a couple of times if we take it. It'd be stupid not to. I mean. It makes the back end a little tricky because it's not something you physically throw in the bank and it becomes an asset. Like,
And how do you do tax time?
Yeah, see,
was it when they paid you the value of the Bitcoin, or tax a year later?
Well, it depends on what
Bitcoin could be higher or lower in value.
See, it's like PayPal, the same thing. If you get a PayPal transaction and it sits in your PayPal account, do you pay the tax while it's sitting in your PayPal account, or do you only pay the tax once you transfer it from the PayPal account into your bank account?
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing. It's not an actual physical currency to work with, so you can't class it as an asset, really.
No, it's virtual.
And it's one of those things. Do you hang on to it and hope it goes up in value, or whilst it's still worth the same amount that the product cost that you paid for it, do you cash it back in and get your cash back difference in physical money? Like,
you do if you need the money right now, don't you? I need to order some more batteries.
Well, but if somebody orders, like one of my customers, it was a $7,000 sale, and he's like, well, I could pay you Bitcoin. I'm like, well, okay, cool, you could. My problem is if that Bitcoin that's worth $7,000 today is only worth $5,000 tomorrow.
Yeah.
This is the problem I have that I'm still trying to wrap my head around with the stability of the coin. Like, it's okay when you're trading for a service or something like that. You're not going to be that far out of pocket. But if you're trading for an actual product that's actually cost you money, this is where the issue comes about. So I've got to do a bit more.
You can't operate at a loss.
No. So I've got to do a bit more looking into that and just see exactly if there's like a fallback in place, so that if the coin drops, there's like a 24-hour lag time or something between the transaction and it's like the Australian dollar. Like, it's bad enough when we order stuff from overseas, we pay for it once, and then it hits the docks, and then we have to pay an import duty. But we pay that import duty based on the day it lands at the dock, not the day we paid for it. So if the American dollar was, I remember once I got caught out, the American dollar when it was like 55 cents, I bought some stuff from the States. By the time it got here, it was back up to like 80 cents. So I paid what had landed at the dock on the 80-cent rate, even though I purchased it at the 55-cent rate.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
A bit ridiculous.
But
makes things difficult. Yeah.
It's still, I think, a viable option, but...
Unfortunately for me, I wanted to do this now because I had the solar on the house and I want to expand that soon and get a Powerwall 2. And
it's rained every day.
It's going to rain for a couple of weeks now, isn't it? So I'm going to have not very much solar anyway. So RIP my future investment opportunities.
That's actually quite funny.
For you, it is. You didn't just buy a new graphics card and power supply and ant miner and.
Can't help you with all your problems.
At least we can talk about my experience with a real ant miner instead of just hypothesizing about stuff we've seen on the internet. So,
well, we already hypothesized it's garbage, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was interesting to set up. Though I checked that the guy had completely factory reset it, but I did that myself again as well, just in case you could just insert your own wallet somewhere and take 5% of whatever I mine, and I would not know about it because everything's in the hardware and the software and stuff. So,
did you end up changing to the what's the name? NiceHash OS?
Yeah, no, not their OS. I'm still using the Brains OS, but I just pointed at the NiceHash servers because the Brains OS, you do it through /pool, and it said you could do the smallest you could get paid out was when you hit 0.0001, I think, of a Bitcoin
micro.
They would 0.001 of a Bitcoin, but they would charge you 0.0001 to do that if you did it at that level. And it would take me 7 months to make that much Bitcoin to be able to export. So,
yeah. Well, see,
I went with the NiceHash, which just gives you payouts every 4 hours. 4 hours, 7 months. You know.
I average about $10 a day at the moment on my PC, on my main PC. My two work computers, being super high quality and super powerful work computers that they are, between them, I think I get about 25 cents an hour. So that's.
Well, might as well while you got it there.
Well, I mean, they're sitting there doing nothing. They might as well make 25 cents an hour.
Yeah. I mean, I could still play Minecraft
25 cents a day,
7 days to die on my 3070 graphics card, so it's not a complete loss.
Oh, yeah, well, something like a graphics card, it's always an investment anyway.
Yeah.
So
1070 Ti is getting a bit old toothed now anyway, so now I've got them both in there. And that's it for Aussie Tech Crypto for this week. Thanks for tuning in. We haven't done one of those shows in a couple of years.
No, it's getting to the point where we could nearly think about doing them again. They're starting to become a thing again.
Yeah, we'll just do it when they're riding the highs. We'll do a couple episodes, and then when it falls into nothingness again, we can skip them.
Well, yeah, that's it.
Who would want to listen to more of us, though? These people.
Well, at least, as I said, those people.
Maybe.
And the like 6 people in chat at the moment as well, probably.
Yeah.
Yes, so speaking of people who want to listen, Patreon.
That's a good segue,
and,
right?
Ko-fi and PayPal and all the other things that do. I'll mention Andrew G from PayPal because I always forget. And I call it Ko-fi, and I'll tell you why. Because I used to watch wrestling, and there's a guy in the WWE who spells his name like that, and he calls himself Kofi. So
just because he doesn't know how to pronounce words,
it's going to be called Kofi. And it's not coffee because it's not spelled right.
I get ads now for some other service called like buyacoffee.com, which is supposed to be exactly the same thing, but they spelled it with all the full words, but now it's too long.
Yeah, that's it. So we've got Kate and Bouncing Our Skull and Daniel and Amanda. We've got David Bird and Chris. And we have several anonymouses. We have a couple of PayPals, Andrew, as I mentioned, and a couple others. Need to let you guys know, for whatever reason, the new Patreon only show was released on the weekend. I'm not sure that the emails actually went through for that. So if you're listening to this and you're also a Patreon or one of the other guys who get the payment only one, can you let us know if you received the mail out message for that? Because if not, I'm going to need to figure out why.
I'll have to subscribe and donate like $5 a month to Glenn just so I can see if I get the email.
That's it, exactly.
Then you can buy a new potato.
Yeah, a bit more like a slightly less outdated potato. You give him your 1070 or whatever it was that you can have.
Red
that
chips.
one. Give him his old systems. But yeah, so if you guys could just do that for us, that'd be great. Because for whatever reason, it doesn't look like you got notifications on that. Whether you've all got it turned off, which would be highly unusual for everybody to have notifications turned off. I get some people might, but not everyone.
Maybe they just got turned off watching the show.
I mean, I know I do. What can I say?
And yet you still come back for punishment week after week because that's how dedicated you are.
You know, I have to watch the show like 5 times, right? Because I've got to watch it to make sure it's recorded properly, and then I've got to edit it. Then I'm going to rip the audio. Then I'm going to listen to the audio to make sure the audio went through properly. And then I've got to patch the video and make sure it's right and encoded correctly. Then I've got to watch it again to make sure it's right. Then I upload it, and after it's uploaded, I've got to watch it again to make sure it's uploaded properly. So I've got to watch this episode like 5 times before
then you don't want to hear from me for a week.
But yeah, so thanks for that, guys. It helps out. Patreon.com/AussieTechHeads. ko.fi something ko/fi. What is it?
/ Control-Alt-Delete.
Yep, that's it. Do that exactly. If that doesn't work, hit the reset button.
Then call Bill Gates.
Complain.
He's handing out free microchips, I hear.
Complain. Yeah, you just gotta stick your tongue out at him. So, but yeah, thanks for your support, guys. It makes a big difference. If anybody would like to support us, you do now get an exclusive Patreon-only show once a month at this stage, and it's still being played with, so it's around 15 minutes. It's going to change formats probably a little bit.
Based on feedback which you're going to provide, right?
You guys... Well, it's for you guys, so if you want the show the way you want it, let us know and we can change it. And there are going to be some more incentives coming up in the next few months. We're going to start giving out prizes. We're going to start giving out... We're going to have some merchandise available, so there's going to be all sorts of cool stuff coming up. So keep an eye out for that. Also, for the people wondering, yes, there will be an RSS feed on the private feed from the private show. It's really, really convoluted for me to wrap my head around to make it function. It'll be easy enough for you guys to get it, so don't worry about that. Just the actual setup and the processing of it is really painful because it can't be a public feed, but it has to be publicly accessible so you can get it. So yeah, so best of both worlds there. But no, thanks. It makes a big difference. It helps us out. The money does go towards hosting the shows, running the shows, buying software and stuff like that's required.
New potatoes for Glenn.
Feeding Glenn potatoes. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Is he eating the potatoes? Well, there's the problem. Glenn, stop eating the potatoes. They are not actually potatoes.
That's right. Should we do some news?
No, yeah, why not?
Why not? I got a couple on Aussie broadband. Aussie broadband's growth in residential broadband is coming largely from NBN users disenfranchised with their existing provider and looking to make a switch. Managing Director Philip Britt told the company's inaugural half-year results briefing on Wednesday afternoon that almost 3/4 of sign-ups are existing NBN users. Whilst the NBN main rollout is now complete, ultimately we're seeing over 70% of our orders coming from people that are switching from other providers. These are people who are already connected to the NBN that are disenfranchised with their current provider for whatever reason, and so we're still seeing strong connection orders even right through January and now of customers that are switching providers. The churn to Aussie Broadband isn't likely to be a surprise insofar as the company was one of the first retail service providers to prioritise factors like user experience and service quality over price. Early competition on the NBN was once characterised as a land grab by former NBN co-boss Bill Morrow, where he accused RSPs of sacrificing service quality to compete on price and sign up as many users as possible. As the NBN retail market matured, so did the spectrum of offerings, and Aussie Broadband was able to emerge and grow by marketing higher quality as well as higher speed plans. Like those of us who can get a gigabit, right?
Don't know what you're talking about. You're talking some strange language I don't understand.
We need an interpreter. Aussie Broadband will now also offer 4G failover for NBN as potentially cellular fixed wireless. Aussie Broadband is set to revamp its mobile services and expand into offering cellular fixed wireless after switching its mobile virtual network operator allegiance from Telstra to Optus. The company announced the change as part of its half-year results, saying it had signed a new MNVO agreement with Optus Wholesale in December last year. In accompanying slide deck, Aussie Broadband said the Optus agreement will replace the existing MVNO agreement for access to the Telstra network. Aussie Broadband said it plans to move its existing 19,000 mobile customers off the Telstra network and onto Optus. However, it's in the reach and flexibility of the new agreement that is most attractive to Aussie Broadband. The new agreement includes access to the Optus 4G and 5G networks to provide voice, mobile data, and fixed wireless broadband using the full Optus mobile network footprint, rather than only a subset of Telstra's 3G and 4G networks as it presently has access to. Aussie Broadband also said the Optus MVNO agreement is flexible, with the ability for Aussie to create new plans without the need for wholesaler involvement. In addition to revamped mobile plans due out in the fourth quarter of FY21, Aussie Broadband said it would also now offer 4G failover for both residential and business NBN customers. And why so much talk about Aussie Broadband? Because we loves it.
Because they are awesome, even if I did lose the interview I did with them.
We won't mention that. Didn't happen, right?
I still want to get another interview. I'm just not game to ask them. Imagine what happens if I lost the footage again.
That'd be the end of it.
That was the last time my old computer worked, like flawlessly for years podcasting.
Yep.
The one time I line up an actual really cool interview with like the managing director and the PR of Aussie Broadband, and it gets halfway through, crashes, explodes, catches on fire, and burns the house down. Well, not quite, but it felt like it.
Yeah.
It just locked up, and that was it. It was dead. Never the power on again.
No recording. Then you found that faulty USB device.
Which, yeah, I think caused the problem, yeah. No, a USB mixer decided to send 240 volts back through the USB port.
That's never a good thing, is it?
No, they don't like it too much.
Especially when you're in the middle of an interview.
Lucky I didn't touch it. Turns out the case is actually live.
Oh.
I was mucking around with it the other day, seeing if I could bring it back to life, and I actually just touched the case and it belted me.
Oh, nice.
So that's fun.
That's a no.
Oh dear.
Chuck it in the garbage pile with your Bitcoin drive.
Been there, done that. So no, but it's good, Aussie Broadband. I was waiting for them to bring out mobile plans and stuff, so I'm going to stick with Vodafone only because of the stupid, insane plan that I'm on with Vodafone.
Which got even stupider and insaner.
It's ridiculous. If it wasn't for that, I would switch in a heartbeat to Aussie. I love the fact they're doing the fallback deal too.
Yeah.
Because Telstra started doing that a while ago, then they kind of pulled the pin on it.
Oh, okay.
And Aussie Broadband
used to be able to share your data on other SIMs. You could just buy a SIM and share it from the same data you already had, and they canned that.
Yep. I know Aussie Broadband's always done, to some degree, a fallback. We had problems with our NBN at one point, and they sent us a dongle. Said, "Here, look, use this whenever your NBN goes down to switch over and use this dongle." And we did that for a couple months until NBN got out and actually fixed the problem. But you know, that's perfect timing too, because people who are looking for high-speed plans are going to go this way now with all the new stuff coming out. They're looking around. For some bizarre reason, I don't know why, Aussie Broadband seems to not have an issue, or not have issues that most other companies have. And I get, because they're a smaller company, they prioritise customer service and stuff like that. But in terms of hitting bandwidth caps and speed caps and overcrowding and overpopulation and all this stuff,
don't have it.
They don't have that problem. And you would think, being a smaller company, that would actually be a bigger problem.
Yeah.
But they always seem to stay ahead of the amount they need, and I think it's brilliant that they can do that.
Yep.
So, and the fact they're starting to roll out their own optic fibre in places as well, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, through the Sydney Harbour Tunnel.
Well, that's one of they've got like a dozen different places they're doing it through.
Yep.
So they're creating their own network, and it's going to get to the point where they're just going to tell NBN to go jump anyway.
Yeah.
if they're smart, they'll jump on the bandwidth and get a hold of.
They're the new iiNet, right? It used to do all of that in the ADSL days. We need to install something. Telstra, can you do it? Yeah, one day, or we don't have capacity. All right, we'll install our own DSLAM. Problem solved.
and then they got bought out by someone.
They said they
Vodafone or something.
merged with TPG. They didn't say they got bored.
They merged. They merged with the bad part of TPG.
Which is all of it.
But yeah, and I think there's an opportunity here for Aussie Broadband really to get on board with the Starlink Elon's mob and go, hey, look, I get it, you guys want to run it, but can we piggyback or fall back to you guys if we can't service a customer? Can we have, can we say, well, look, we can't do the NBN here, but we can organise a satellite install, and use Starlink rather than the existing couple of satellites that are overcrowded already. So
why not?
No, I think it'd be cool. Okay. What else have I got? So Singtel breach compromises data's customers and not only customers but also employees' data. Data of 129,000 customers, including employees' birth dates, mobile numbers, financial details, addresses, and other personal data has been leaked in a security breach involving a security breach. They went to a secure beach. Third-party file sharing system. They've confirmed that credit card details, etc., corporate credit card details as well, not just personal, but corporate stuff. So, like unlimited, Amex cards and stuff like that have been leaked. The affected file sharing system called FTA, which was developed 2 decades ago by Asalon. They said they had used the software internally and with external stakeholders. Following investigation, Telco said compromised personal data, including physical addresses, had been breached. Bank account details of 28 former staff, credit card details of 45 employees, corporate data, and all their information for their wow, I'm paraphrasing here and I can't think of the word. They use VoIP phones, effectively internet phones, and all their internal linking numbers for all the phones. So they've got control over that, and they could basically reroute the phones, incoming calls to wherever they wanted. So yeah, they're saying that there was a lot more data leaked. Most of it was non-sensitive, except for all the stuff that was. It said it began notifying affected individuals and enterprises about the breach and was offering help to mitigate potential risks, and stuff like that. But yeah, so basically, the program they were using through this whatever it was called, this FTA, apparently is like an ancient program that hasn't been updated in like 20 years.
Wow. And
they're using it as file sharing both internally and with their external clients and customers and stuff.
No wonder it got done.
And they're like, we don't understand why. We've been using it forever. We've never had a problem. FTA system is a legacy large file transfer software. And we now admit that it's nearing the end of its life cycle. You think?
I worked for a company once, a cell phone company, and they wanted to transfer large files all around, and they said, we got a quote for about 10 grand, so Jason, you're writing it instead. So I wrote it in Perl and did the same thing.
Laplink. Oh, dear. What was that one? PC Anywhere. That's it. It was huge for a few years.
Ah.
PC Anywhere.
Is that
dial-up.
Norton or something? No,
Norton, yeah.
Novell.
Was it Novell or Norton? It was a yellow box.
It started with an N.
Yeah. And yeah, it was a client-to-client dial-up screen share software file transfer thing. But if you dialed up into the server, then you had access to the entire network. It's a whole hack.
PC Anywhere by Symantec.
Wow,
wow.
And here's a big yellow box.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a free helpline. You could call their helpline for assistance, and it was like $20 a minute. And you had to give them the credit card details before that. It's like, well, if you wrote the software to work properly, I wouldn't need to ask for assistance.
Yeah.
So,
Keep on the cell carriers. Telstra said it's blocking up to 500,000 scam calls on its busiest days using a new automated platform, part of a double down on a broader crackdown effort against scams that transit across its network infrastructure. CEO Andrew Penn said in a blog post that the telco previously blocked around 1 million calls a month using manual processes. While volumes of scam calls fluctuated day to day, he said the numbers were generally increasing. We're sometimes blocking up to 500,000 calls a day before they can potentially defraud our customers, which is a huge increase from the 1 million plus scam calls we were blocking on average per month previously. This is why we're announcing today we're doubling down on efforts to address scam calls and are now blocking around 6.5 million suspected scam calls a month on average from reaching end customers. He said the telco is doubling down on initiative calls Cleaner Pipes.
usually happens when you double down. I know my pipes are clean after a good double down.
Didn't you have a video about that
Before the show? Yeah, I think that was the same video, yeah.
Which it launched last May. The scam call blocking platform is considered a third element of Cleaner Pipes. I can't. Earlier elements focused on recognizing phishing, smishing, and other text-based scams.
Beg your pardon?
So the automatic blocking of scam calls is no mean feat. Our networks team has built a smart platform that enables us to monitor inbound calls through our network that have suspicious characteristics and block them before they can ever reach our customers.
Yeah, except they block wanted calls. I had one that come up. I was expecting it from someone.
Yep.
I don't know if I can see it quickly, but it flagged it as spam, so I didn't answer it. And then I rang these guys and they're like, we tried to call you, but you didn't answer. I'm like, hang on, is this your number? And they're like, yeah. I said, well, that's coming up on my phone as spam.
Yeah, I've got an automated system from Samsung that's built into my phone, and anytime I get third-party calls on behalf of Telstra, it comes up as potential fraud.
Oh, that's understandable. But this is this is like a legitimate, legitimate business who don't do spam calling and stuff. I had already rung them, so their number was in my phone.
Yeah.
I'd previously
Someone's
called
reported them as spam using the software.
And yeah, but you would think that if it's in my phone already, my phone's aware of it, that it wouldn't say it's spam because it's like, I have already called this number.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, it's and the worst part is they're so like so many times you answer the phone and there's nothing for like 10 seconds before an automated voice kicks in, and you're like, how obvious is it that this is fake? Like, nothing about this is how human-to-human interaction occurs.
I had one today. And I had one last week. It had +64, so it looked as though it was coming from New Zealand. And then the week before was another one. Hello, this is the Australian Taxation Office in regards to fraud. Please stay on the line while you be investigated for fraud. Like, hang up.
Yeah, pretty much. It's the same as in the UK.
You can't even blow a whistle in their ear because it's automated computer.
That's probably why
wait till someone picks up.
That's probably why they do it.
Yeah.
It's like in the UK.
They miss all the swearing and colourful words that happen.
In the UK at the moment, there's a thing because you've got to pay for your TV licenses to watch what we call free-to-air TV. You have a TV license to watch that sort of thing. And obviously more and more people are not requiring a TV license because they don't have TVs. And you don't need, my understanding is you don't need a license unless you're watching a live broadcast. So if you watch BBC Online and you're watching a live broadcast, then yes, you still need to have a license. But if you're watching pre-recorded stuff and watching it at a later date, you're not required to have a license. So the TV's licensing board, which is a completely independent thing of the government and a private organisation that has no power over anybody anyway, is basically sending out just thousands and thousands and thousands of bulk letters saying, you're currently under investigation for an invalid TV license.
Just hoping that somebody will pay because they don't know any better, and it often works.
But it starts off saying, dear occupier, we are currently investigating you for blah, blah, and you're like, well, you're not doing a very good job if you can't even find my name. You know, like right from the get-go, it's just everything about. There's actually a guy on YouTube, I can't think of his name, but I watch him. He's a lawyer, but he's been dealing with them for years, on and off. and he tells you these different ways to handle them. But he said, like, they'll almost never, especially at the moment, they'll almost never come to your house. But if they do come to your house, you don't need to open your door. They get paid per person they convince to buy the TV license.
Yeah.
And if you don't open your door, they don't get paid. And after a while, they won't have a job because they're not getting paid. So just don't open your door and you don't have a problem.
It's problem solved.
So, but, yeah, it's, you know, what are you going to do? Oh, this cough will not go away. I've had it for like 2 weeks.
Jeez.
At least I didn't lose my voice this week. Not like last week. So there's a new bill that's been released, both, and actually a few places released. Australia's released it, America's released it. And what it basically means is that if you have a product,
doing the zoom in on the Will picture for your rant of the week.
No, this is, well, it's not really, a little bit, but what it basically means is that now, if I buy a product, I have the right to ring that company who supplied the product and say, hey, this is broken. It's a month out of warranty. I get that. But now you're required to supply me with the schematics and a replacement component that I need to replace it. Obviously, I need to pay for it. I need to pay for the repair. I need to pay for the parts. But you're required by law to supply that to me. Apple is obviously the biggest pushback against this because Apple refuses to have any of their products serviced at all. They hate it. They think it's the worst thing in the world, the worst thing you possibly do. Tesla's probably second on that list. Tesla's, they're just known for not even talking to people who own a second-hand Tesla. And a lot of other people are jumping on that bandwagon. But now there's a few of them getting together, and Toyota's one, which surprised me because Toyota's always been really good about right to repair. They've always sold aftermarket part or parts for second-hand vehicles and stuff like that. But they're basically saying now the Australian arm of the Japanese car manufacturer, Toyota, is standing. It does not believe It doesn't believe the automotive industry should be part of the right to repair section. Because they're saying that somebody can buy a car that's been in an accident and then they'll be able to repair them themselves, but it could be a substandard repair. And then that would, if the vehicle then plays up, it's going to give Toyota a bad name because that car's not a good car. And this is what Tesla's been saying all along. Look, due to the high voltages and due to the things that are non-user serviceable, we shouldn't supply components. But Tesla take it to the extreme. They won't even supply, things that are consumable products. Especially in the States where they run into mooses and stuff all the time. They won't even replacement headlights or replacement wiper blades and things that are what should be considered a consumable item.
Yep.
And Toyota's now starting to do the same thing. They're like, why should we supply this stuff? So basically, the whole people got together and they're all starting to appeal the right to repair bill, saying that we don't think it's feasible, we don't think you should do it. So, yeah, not real happy with them at the moment. Look, the right to repair is something that everybody... It should be your choice. If you've got an iPhone is a classic example because they've been doing it for years with Apple products. You got a 3-year-old Apple product that needs a new battery. Even if you go to a certified Apple dealer, there's no guarantee that they can purchase a battery for that phone. Because it comes down to Apple whether or not they want to do it, which is a load of garbage because as far as I'm concerned, I've paid for that product. I own the physical device. You might own the software on it. It's up to you if you want to update it and whatever. That's because it's your software. But I own the physical device. I want to continue to use that physical device. So, I need to be able to repair it. And to be able to repair it, I've got to get the product. And if you refuse third parties to manufacture your components, then you have to.
Yep.
You can't not allow anybody else to make it and not make it yourself and then complain when people breach your licensing agreement.
Buy a new iPhone every couple of years. Let's fill up the landfill.
To give you an example, what Apple were doing was they were... So, a couple of years ago, back when the iPads were hitting 3, 4, 5 years old and the battery was starting to fail, Apple didn't have any more battery. They weren't releasing batteries for it. And people just forked out $2,000 or whatever the iPads are worth at the time they come out. And they're like, well, we want to put new batteries in them. And Apple's like, well, no, we don't do that. It's not something we do. We're not providing them for them. So a Chinese manufacturer got the specs of the batteries and they started manufacturing aftermarket batteries. So then Apple went, well, no, you can't do that. You're breaking our trademark or our intellectual property rights or whatever it was. You know, they cracked down and said you can't make those. And the court said, well, no, you can because you're not making them. Therefore, your right to complain about somebody else making them is null and void because you're not manufacturing the product.
It's not like it's competition.
So then Apple started manufacturing them just so that nobody else could. They didn't manufacture them to sell them. They literally manufactured them to either destroy them or store them so that nobody else could manufacture them without breaching copyright. So this right to repair bill, there's one going ahead in the States at the moment. There's one going ahead in Australia at the moment. I believe there's one going ahead in the UK. I may not be 100% on that. But they are an incredibly important bill and they need to be passed because it's something that needs to be enforced. You need to force manufacturers of products to either supply components till end of life on things, or if they're not going to do it, they need to be not allowed to stop somebody else from doing it. Yeah. That's basically what it comes down to.
Don't define end of life as 2 years, got to buy a new one.
Or if you are going to define end of life as 2 years, then you need to be upfront about it to start with. But besides that, if you've said this product's got a 2-year life, then that means at the end of 2 years you can no longer complain when third parties manufacture components for your product because you're not. So you can have one or the other.
Can't have it both ways. Oh dear, dear. YouTube outlined a string of new features coming in the internet's biggest video platform, including enhancements to YouTube TV and the rollout next month in the US of YouTube Shorts. It's a tool for creating short-form vertical videos a la TikTok. YouTube TV, Google's pay TV service, will introduce an add-on option that will let subscribers watch shows in 4K, stream programming to an unlimited number of devices at home, and download content for offline viewing. Sounds like they got some ideas from Netflix.
I was going to say, it's not original ideas, but they got ideas.
They're as original as Facebook with ideas, aren't they? Other features on YouTube's roadmap.
Hey, Instagram was their idea, remember?
Yeah. Google Plus. Other features on YouTube's roadmap include the expansion of new e-commerce feature to allow viewers to buy products directly from creators' channels, a way to let fans purchase applause for their favorite channels. That's Twitch, right?
Pretty much.
Automatically adding video chapters to relevant videos that don't have creator uploaded chapters, and more personalized mixes on YouTube Music. A new YouTube TV add-on package will let you viewers watch available shows in 4K or download them to DVR to watch later offline. In addition, the premium option will add unlimited concurrent streams at home versus a maximum of 3 for the standard subscription, so the whole family can enjoy YouTube TV on different screens at once. Yay.
Netflix.
YouTube didn't disclose when the add-on package will be available or how much it will cost.
Netflix.
On another front, YouTube Shorts will launch in the US in March.
Yeah.
The video tool mimics popular social video app TikTok, letting users record, edit, and share clips up to 60 seconds in length. YouTube Shorts first launched last fall in India, where TikTok is currently banned amid a wider dispute between the country and China. According to them, since the beginning of December 2020, the number of Indian creators using Shorts has more than tripled, and the YouTube Shorts player is now generating more than 3.5 daily views. 3.5 billion.
That's what we get, not what they get.
Daily views globally. So I don't think I'll be going for a YouTube Short or paying them for videos. I hate watching their intrusive 2 to 4 ads in a row.
Well, this is what
I'm not giving them money.
This is what a lot of people don't understand. a lot of the time those ads you see in the middle aren't creator ads. They're YouTube ads. YouTube gets the revenue for those. The creator doesn't see the profits of those.
Yeah.
You know, and this is what's annoying them. It's like, well, if you want to run ads on my videos, then okay, fine, but you got to give me something for it. So there's actually a lot of creators starting to leave YouTube now. They're going to some other places. So we'll see who wins out in that battle. But YouTube's not in everybody's good graces at the moment.
Yep.
So
Just wait for Aussie Tech Heads YouTube Shorts. 1 minute they update. Could we do a 1 minute show? We could barely do
our intro's 45
60-minute show.
Our intro's 45 seconds. We couldn't do a 1 minute show.
Even our roundup's 15 minutes. And whenever we say, oh, there's no news this week, so we don't know what we talk about, and then an hour and a half later, I think we should wrap this up. Yeah, good idea.
I was just reading one of the news headlines. It's the Australian military, Australian Navy in Timor has just been fired upon.
Oh.
They're thinking it was China, but we'll see.
We'll see.
See who they blame for that one. So, just quickly, did you know how the Victoria was just in lockdown again, for those who are not aware? But this time they blamed it on a hotspot outbreak of 2 people at a restaurant that hasn't been open for over 10 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The address
Someone's doing a good job there.
The address they gave was this place here. And as you said, it's Felice. How did this place infect 2 people when it's Felice since December? In fact, you call them, they'll tell you it's been closed for 10 months. So, yeah, so good job, Andrews, there. You're on the ball with that one.
And they say they're going to look to New South Wales for future ideas now and copy them.
Well, they can't do anything themselves original, so they might as well copy someone else. What was I going to say? And also the elephant in the room.
I'm on a diet.
I'm not going to rant too much about it because basically it's an I told you so, because we did say months ago this was going to happen. Facebook, Twitter, Google, Instagram, who else has done it? A few others are involved in this at the moment.
People are wondering about Reddit too.
Wouldn't surprise me. There's a lot of places that this is going to affect. But Facebook pulled the pin before anybody else, and as of today, they blocked news linking effectively. They also
and weather and politician websites and
they may have had a bit of overreach.
a bit.
Just like the Hobart Women's Shelter and the Beer Council, and so they may have accidentally gone a little far with some of their
Facebook blocked the beer. No, bring back the beer.
Maroochydore Bike Park. So yeah, but basically they said if the Australian government goes ahead with this dumbass idea that they had and thinking they're better than everybody else, we're just not going to take our service there. You're such a small number of people, we don't care. Yep. And it's true, we're like 1% of their user base or something. Like, it's easier for them just to not service this place than to implement all these stupid guidelines and regulations. Yep. In the interim, Google and Twitter and a couple others have some half-assed, patched together, dodgy agreement that probably won't see the light of day at this stage. We'll see what happens. Most likely, realistically, they'll just look at it and go, that's the easiest thing to do. Let's just do that. And they'll pull out as well. Yep. But the agreement they've reached so far has only been with the major networks. So all the independents are still being screwed over. But here's the thing of it, right? When Pete Evans got banned and Facebook banned Pete Evans a day or two ago, the media said, hey, this is great. You guys are censoring stuff. About time you're doing that. And now Facebook pulls the media. And the media's like, you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. We're the media. You can't block us. Like, that's literally exactly the same thing you praised them for doing 2 days ago. You're now complaining. And the government's come out and it's like, I got quotes here if I can be bothered reading them. But the government's basically come out and said, look, you can't do that. We just wanted you to pay us money. We didn't want you to leave.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, no, we told you specifically that we're not paying you money because you're dumbasses and we're going to leave.
Didn't you say the options that they gave were pay or leave and still pay?
Yeah. Well, that's it. And well, that's the thing. They're like, well, if you're gonna if you're gonna block our stories completely, then you got to pay for it. And you're like, no, if we're gonna block your stories completely, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and all of your citizens are going to pay for it.
Yeah, look,
another way.
I think it's the best thing in the world they could have done. The Australian government's too big for its boots. It's pushed. It's bad enough that like even stupid stuff like they expect other countries to fill out GST forms when somebody purchases something from Australia now.
Yep.
So the government can get
I wonder
their share.
who all this benefits. There must be somebody who's going to benefit if a government is getting involved in this sort of thing.
Right, you mean like Murdoch or Mr. Burns?
Excellent.
What's his name? The other one. I can't think of his name now.
Montgomery.
Yeah, not actually Mr. Burns. The guy, Rothschild. They're effectively pushing the buttons for everything, but yeah, look.
And Packer.
But the dumb part of this is that now, like, yeah, they've gone from complaining that Facebook wasn't doing enough to block, all this stuff, and then Facebook blocked everything. Now they're saying, oh, you can't do that. And it's like, well, hang on.
Yeah.
What do you want? I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. I think, it'll...
You just want money.
Yeah. I don't have a problem. I use websites like Minds.com and stuff anyway where this isn't an issue because they're not a centralized service, so they don't have this problem. They can just show any links they want.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. We'll see. I was reading some posts from somebody I follow on Facebook who they're a lawyer and they're like, Facebook has no right to this. I'm like, no, they do. They have the right to do this.
Company?
They're a private company that
owns their own platform that isn't the whole internet, so it's not like you can't get the news ever.
If you're telling me that the Australian government has the power to block specific websites such as Pirate Bay, then as far as I'm concerned, specific websites have the power to block the government.
Yeah. It goes both ways, man.
You can't expect everybody to bend to your will and then complain
Everybody
when they
wants
don't.
to be all powerful.
Yeah. I don't want to spend too long on it, mainly because we've already been going for an hour, but it's just so frustrating that 3 or 4 days ago I started putting up on my Facebook page and started posting that this was going to happen.
Yep.
And that, don't be surprised when you can't access your favourite news sites anymore and you can't search for stuff. And everyone's like, no, don't be stupid, it'll never happen, blah, blah, blah. And then, it happened. And then these same people who said, oh, don't be stupid, it'll never happen. They're going, oh, it's such a bad idea, who would do it? I'm like, do you not understand that it doesn't matter what you say? You don't have to like it.
Doesn't matter what you think of it.
The fact of the matter is that they were forewarned months ago that this would be the outcome. The government refused to believe that how dare a small, insignificant little company stand up to us.
All Facebook's bluff, and what happened?
I think Facebook has more employees than Australia has citizens. I mean...
Seems like it.
It's just so dumb. Everything about it is dumb. But yes, I look, they did inadvertently have some issues with other sites. A lot of them have been restored. I don't know if I know a few of them have. But the bombs
Radiology got their page back.
Yeah, the bomb site got taken down a bit for quite a while, and that got done. There was, what was that site you were showing before? I don't know if that was real or fake, but it was hilarious. What was it? The I can't think what
There's a comment from ABC News Brisbane
about another
replying.
newspaper. Was it? Yeah.
It's like Bomb or someone's like, we got our page back.
Yeah. And
ABC Brisbane's like, you guys got Facebook back?
You guys can post, we can't. Yeah, that was funny. But it's apparently that was the pages had themselves tagged as media.
Yep.
and apparently a lot of that, if you had more than X amount of followers and you're tagged as a media page, you're automatically part of that cull. But apparently a quick manual review solves the problem for most of them. So we'll see what happens there. But
what's happening with your words?
what do you mean what's happening with my words?
They go and then they're like, zoom, and then slow, and then zoom.
Yeah, the high quality programs that were written
Not coping.
buffer. They run out. The longer they run for, they tend to run out of their own memory after a while. So, like, if I close them and reopen them, they'll run at full speed again. Like, it's just, I don't know. Whatever.
Well, everybody, I think, should use Password Manager. They're free and easy to use for the most part. But if you use LastPass, their free tier will become a lot less useful next month. Mobile users will be limited to iOS and Android phones, iPads, Android tablets, and smartwatches. Computer subscribers will be able to use their passwords from Windows, Mac OS, and Linux desktop and laptops, the LastPass browser extension, and Windows tablets. Users on LastPass's free tier will be asked to pick between the two options for the first time they log in after March 16th, and the company said they'll be able to switch between categories up to 3 times after they're picked. Although customers are restricted to a single category of devices on the free tier, they'll still be able to view and manage passwords on an unlimited number of devices within either mobile or computer category. LastPass says no user will be locked out of their accounts or lose access to their passwords as a result of changes. As well as restricting its device types, LastPass is also changing the kinds of customer support free tier users will be able to access. From May 14th, free users will lose access to email support, the company announced. I switched over to Bitwarden, so I was having a lot of trouble with FastPass on certain apps on the Android phone, and it's fantastic, and it was free. And you can pay for them if you want and get other things if you want to support them, which is a fantastic idea because they do a great job. And you synchronize across all the devices, and I never have any problem with it. Do you use any password managers?
Chrome. Honestly, 99% of my stuff's in Chrome just because I've been using it for so many years. Is it the best? No, not even close. Is it the securest? No, not even close. But it means I log into my Chrome browser and I've got everything there,
So synchronize.
I probably will change to probably, I don't know, Firefox or Opera or Brave, most likely.
I like the Bitwarden stuff because even if I open an app like the Facebook app, it'll automatically pop up and you can fill that out.
That's right. That's what I was going to say. The one advantage to using something like that is it's not just browser specific. I actually should look into it. There probably is a way to export from Chrome into one of those apps.
That's what I did when I went from LastPass to Bitwarden. They had to export data and import, and that was it.
Because that's sort of the only thing that's stopping me from doing it at the moment. But yeah, I probably should really because I don't know. I have to mention too, Brave reminds me, I was using that the other day and I was using their built-in VPN that they have. The one thing I couldn't figure out to do, which I can do in Opera very easy, is change the location of the VPN.
Oh, okay. They just pick one for you.
I think they just pick one. At least a quick 5-minute play with it. I couldn't figure out how to change it. It's easier with Opera. It literally sits up the top and lets you change the one you want to use. There may be a way to do it, but without short of Googling it and figuring it out, there's no easy way to swap VPNs. And it put me in like Romania or something, so everything was coming through in Romanian.
Haven't you learned other languages?
So it was kind of useless. So I got to spend a bit more time with Brave and see what my options are there. But yeah, no,
you could at least pick the language of the country.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, you might end up with some pommy stuff.
Yeah.
Or some American type spelling and things.
But at least it would be readable.
Yeah. Somewhat.
But yeah, no, I do need to look at getting a password manager. It's getting to that point now where I have so many different just random passwords on sites. There's a lot of sites now that you sign up to that you either can't choose your own password, they give you one and that's what you're stuck with, or the password they ask you to choose is like 4,000 letters with 27 symbols, 18 characters, and 96 numbers. And you're like, that's not a password that I have in my repertoire.
Would you like to hear the opposite of that?
What's that?
I won't mention which bank, but signing up recently to something for their internet banking, passwords are lowercase letters and numbers, 6 only. Not 5, not 8, not 1, 6. How easily can that be hacked? Very, very easily.
A lot of them do it because of the limitations of the apps on the phones. I know ING, there's 2 sections. Your primary section you log into is 4 digits, and then that gets you into the main part. And if you want to do actual transfers and stuff, it's the 6 digit.
Yeah.
But that's because of the limitation of the way the apps are. They can't put, like their website is different. Again, their website's a decent, password. But the way the apps work is you can't. But what you can do is log into the website, and each one of those passwords has a privilege level against it. So you can change. You can drop, if you wanted to, you could drop the privilege level right down. So that the worst thing that could happen is they could view your bank account
Numbers,
balance.
that's it. Yeah.
So, but no, it's actually quite common that a lot of the banks have very unsecure settings. It's not I had noticed that actually. It's the same as like Hum, like the credit card Hum, and the some of the, can't think what they're called now. Like my iCloud Solar one, my On Energy, they all have 2 passwords. They've got their website one, which is really complex, and then they've got the phone. I think they work on the theory that the phone's linked to your account, so unless somebody physically gets your phone, they can't do anything. Like, they could install the app, but unless they've got your phone, they can't, log in with the app anyway.
Maybe this is the same. If I log into the phone app, it might send a text and say, type in this number.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I don't know if the latest Samsungs have it. The Xiaomi, if I say go to PayPal and it sends me, or ZipPay, and it sends me an in-store code, it sends me the text, and then it pops up a message saying, do you want to put these 6 digits into this field? And you just click yes, and it automatically copies them out of the text file and puts them into the...
Not that I've seen recently, no.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. You don't have to dig
some
around.
Some apps are really clever. They'll just wait and monitor your text messages, and when they see one that's come from one of the numbers they know, they automatically type it in for you, so you don't have to.
Yeah, it's getting pretty cool like that. So.
My PayPal pops up a thing. It's got worse with the latest Android R. Comes up with this tiny little oval thing at the top of the screen that you have to try and click on, and my fat fingers miss it. So it slides off the screen. Then you have to try and pull down from the top of the screen, click on there, and it's got copy code, and then you paste it into. You click on the PayPal field, then you have to push your finger on for a second, so it comes up paste, and then hit paste, and then go. And it's like, you're trying to make this harder for me or easier? I don't know.
Probably less snoopable.
Probably,
someone's sticking their head over your shoulder, you can't see it, but it's well. Before we went live, we were watching Aussie Max Zone, and their tip was for screen capturing either that window or the whole page. I was unaware that iPhones have literally just implemented the feature to be able to capture a whole page.
Yeah.
It's only literally just been a screen. Yeah, Android's had that since like version 1. You go copy screen. It says, do you want to copy the screen or do you want to copy the whole page? And you go screen or page. Like, it's not.
Mine's just got a
new
little
thing.
scroll down button, so you can just keep scrolling until you get the bits you want. If you don't want some, you only want the top half or something.
Yeah.
You can just scroll, and then it'll capture that.
It changes depending on what I'm capturing, how it does it. But
Yep.
yeah, I'm like, really? This is a new thing on? I suppose it did take them 4
I hear you
years to
can
get copy and paste. So
You can copy and paste on the iPhone now too.
yeah, it took them 4 years to do that or something. Wow.
Thanks for listening to the Aussie Tech Heads Show broadcast weekly. We can be found at facebook.com/Aussie Tech Heads, twitter.com/Aussie Tech Heads, and youtube.com/Aussie Tech Heads. Also now at patreon.com/Aussie Tech Heads. Sign up for $4 a month, $10 a month, or from several other tiers. See the site for details. We have extra episodes of Aussie Tech Heads called Aussie Tech Roundup just for patrons. So if you want to access those, you need to sign up. Or if you're already a subscriber, you should receive an email when we upload them. If not, log on to Patreon and watch us, and coffee.com, ko-fi.com/Aussie Tech Heads. Make a one-off donation of any size.
Stupid website.
Email us, Glenn at Warlock at aussietechheads.com.au. You can hear Aussie Tech Heads on aussietechradio.com, 24/7 back-to-back play of some of the best tech-related shows from around Australia and New Zealand. New shows added each Friday. See you later.
Bye.